Big B Meetup is a community initiative founded in 2018 in Qatar. And in April 2020, the pandemic brought about its virtual edition. Big B Meetup is inspired by the people of Qatar, both local and expatriate, and is dedicated to my mother. It aims to inform, to educate, to inspire, and bring communities together. This episode features three phenomenal visual storytellers: the petite Andrea, the smashing Soren, and who I like to call the Tasmanian devil, Heath. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
So,
Nice to be here.
you're welcome.
Thank
So,
you.
as always, chivalry is in my blood. So, I'd like to start with Andrea. Andrea, what brought about your career into photography?
I didn't know anything about photography. First of all, thank you for having me here.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So I came here in 2012 and I started working with a tour company. And I didn't know anything about photography, but I was exposed to a lot of beautiful places here in Qatar. We go to desert safaris and all the city tours. And so I started taking pictures of Souk Waqif and like I posted it on Instagram and people started liking it. So I get excited. So every afternoon I went to Souk Waqif, checking new angles every day. And like since then, I've been getting opportunities. Like people started looking that you have a good eye in photography. Why don't you just like? And then it motivated me to pursue my career as a photographer. So
Wow,
it was just like accidental that you know I
that's
posted
lovely.
on Instagram and so there.
Nice. Actually, yeah, that's lovely. Let me go. The question actually, usually I start off with is please introduce yourself. So I'm going to come back to you, Andrea, but you nearly introduced yourself, but I'd like to know what were you before that, because this is interesting. I thought you were a photographer from day one because you're so good. I love what you do and you do it with so much of passion. I'd like to go to Heath because I think Heath is a guest to us in Qatar. I would say that I would like to call him that, or I don't know if you'd like to say it like that. But
Yeah,
Heath,
that's fine.
could you introduce yourself to the audience and to us?
Yeah. Um, my name is Heath Holden. I'm from Tasmania, Australia. Um, I've worked as a photographer now for maybe 15 years.
Wow.
Um, Before this, I was a mechanic. I've worked in a various different fields, but mostly a mechanic before this for like 6 years for Toyota Australia,
Oh,
and then I just kind of merged into photography through other interests like BMX riding and mountain bike racing, and that led to travel, and then that led to photographing like the bike riding and the travel. So
wow. That's
um,
nice. That's lovely. That's a lovely journey. Yeah, that's fantastic. Soren, would you do the honors too, please?
I started in photography actually also about maybe 14 years ago, 15 years ago, just by chance, by accident. After I bought a point and shoot camera in an airport going on a holiday. It was my first time taking pictures, with a digital camera, and just one single picture, which actually I think at one point was one of my first pictures that were published. Only that small picture of two little boys made me go into photography because I really enjoyed what photography, how it gives us a chance to meet people, to interact, to discover new stories and new places. So before photography, I'm a self-taught photographer. Before photography, I had a career in travel and tourism in Qatar, Bosco, because we know each other since
Yeah, yeah.
many, many
Long
years.
time. True.
So yeah, and I switched on to photography fully in 2011. I wasn't very good at it, but I said, let me give it a try. Let me give it, I put everything I had into becoming a photographer. And then there you go. So many years later, I'm here now.
So I think that's a common thing in all four of us, if I would say. So Heath, you're a self-taught photographer,
Yep.
and Andrea, of course, and me. I'm on my photography journey too. I'm deviating a bit now in vlogging and other things, social media and social activism. But yeah, photography is my first love. Yeah. Coming back to Andrea, I have a couple of food questions for you. So
Yeah.
you call yourself an architectural and food photographer.
Yes.
But I think you're much, much more than that because on your travel, I mean, I've gone through some of your photography pages, and you
Mhm.
do a lot of travel pictures too, like Champs Elysees in Paris and other places. I love your pictures. So, how did you? I mean, why do you only call yourself a food and an architectural photographer? Why
Uh,
just that?
First of all, I consider myself a food photographer because that is how I make money nowadays.
Oh,
Like, I take pictures of restaurants, different restaurants every day. But
yep.
like my real passion is architectural photography. I
Oh,
love, like, I grew up with construction family business, so I got into, like, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to become an engineer or architect. And like whenever I see lines, it's somehow like, um, in my imagination, when I look at the buildings, like I want to, on Instagram you have this square. Like I imagine myself, I look at the buildings, and like I imagine how I'm gonna make it fit into a square. So if you go through my pictures, like everything has a line. I'm trying to get the best angle, make it the perfect square. And so it's like, even when I'm traveling, I mean, you've seen a lot of my travel pictures, but still my focus is still looking for the nice buildings, like alleys and everything that has lines,
yeah.
perspectives.
Perspectives, yeah, that's an innate quality in an architectural photographer. I like that as well. True. uh, as a food photographer, what have been your biggest challenges, and can you narrate some of your biggest challenges as a food photographer, because I don't know food photography very well. I shouldn't
Mhm.
be saying this live because some of my clients do ask me to do photography. But hey, I would like to know, how do you go about managing food photography, because I think it is very time constraint, because you cannot take your own sweet time with food. You know. So
Yes.
how do you go about taking pictures?
Um,
Like a quick
Boss
master
Ed,
class.
we've met through events before when I was working with a magazine. Like I had the privilege to go to different events, like when there's a new hotel, new restaurants, and like because of that, like you have, I developed this appreciation of food. And I mean, as you can see, I'm not. I mean, my frame looks like I love food. So it's
Oh,
like
we
I
all
want
love food.
to give justice to the things that make me happy. It's like when you see a burger that has a melting cheese, and then like dripping chocolate on a cake. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. This is for me. It's somehow an art. Like I have to appreciate it before I devour it.
Yeah, that you actually see this. This is the thing. You're already answering my questions before I ask you them.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that,
So
there was a question for you. How do you manage not gobbling up your food as a food photographer?
yeah. When I go to restaurants, and I take pictures of 40 items per restaurant.
Okay.
Um, it's a lot. If I'm gonna try everything,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like an obese or
You need a wider frame.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so, but then like in in the start, like it's exciting. Like wow, it's food. Like I want to try it, and you know, for food photography, the chef has to prepare the food like in the best quality. Like
Yeah.
this gonna make you drool. So everything was exciting until like I start touching it. I need to move a little bit of this and that, like add some artificial stuff that I'm not gonna mention.
Okay, yeah.
So like when I start touching it, it's like I somehow lose appetite. So I just end up mostly just eating the fries on the side, and then I have
Oh,
to
okay.
ask.
What are your favorite? What are your favorites in terms of photographing food? What kind of food do you love photographing? Like it's easy cheesy for you.
Me, it's not easy for me, but like I love taking pictures of burgers. It's a
Okay.
challenge, and like every restaurant has like a challenging burger. You have to show the stacks, the ingredients, and like even the single vegetable has to be fresh and picture
True.
perfect. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
every time I take pictures of burger and I achieve it, it's like, woo, I clap for myself.
Yeah. That's now you're making me drool. I better move on to something more dangerous, and let's talk to Soren.
You have to wipe your
Soren,
chin, Bosco.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, talking of my chin, let me
Stop
deviate here.
drooling.
Heath, I've actually got this new beard style just for you because this reminds me of David Boone. I don't know if any of you guys who know cricket, but he is the original Tasmanian Devil, and he's one of the greatest opening batsmen for Australia in the 80s. Yeah, in the 80s. Yes, with yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a long
yes,
time ago.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Soren, so can you give us insights into how an Al Jazeera photographer, I shouldn't say operates, but how the journey in the life of Soren as a photographer? I'd like you to explain.
First of all, props to Andrea. I tried my luck with food photography. Yeah, I just couldn't make it. Doctor's orders. I have to stop. My cholesterol went high. Blood pressure went high.
Oh,
So I had to, and yeah, it's complicated. It's not easy at all. And what can I tell you? A day in a life of a day in my life nowadays is quite boring, actually. Not doing much, just this job. But generally, we used to travel quite a bit, for stories and be deployed in different parts of the world. From Afghanistan to Central African Republic,
yeah.
Congo,
I would you
and
would
so
you
on.
be would you be allowed to give us some of those stories, or like just superficial parts of it?
I
Because
mean, yeah, they are all published by now, so there is no secret. But for example, one, let's say, which was a little bit more dangerous in Central African Republic, if I'm not wrong, yeah, about 4 years ago,
yeah,
we were like deep in the bush, flew in with a bush plane. Soldiers were waiting for you on the airfield, and then rebels were just driving around with AK-47s and other machine guns on a motorcycle. And there he goes, like two journalists, because I was with another colleague of mine, just coming off a plane. Just like, what's going on? We were a little bit, we knew what's happening, but we were a little bit clueless of the particular region where we were. A little bit scared because guns were everywhere, and we were so surprised that rebels were so friendly around with the UN peacekeepers. So they used to open the barrier in the road when we were driving through. And I was asking them, like, what's going on? Look, oh, they're rebels. Yeah, but they're like sitting right there with machine guns, grenade launchers. Like, yeah, they're fine. I was like, no, they're not fine.
wow,
Yeah, it was a little bit surreal. There were more incidents, but I mean, I will take forever to talk about it. We have a limited
yeah,
time on this show, but yeah, we got a couple of scares. Afghanistan was also a little bit tense because while it was quiet, nothing has happened. It's that place where you're on guard. As soon as you leave home, you're on guard because anything can blow up anytime, anywhere. So yeah, it was.
yeah. Wow. Well, I'm going to come back to that because I'm not really. I want more. I'm not happy with that answer. I want more. So you can
You want
have
the
a think.
juice? You want the saucy stuff?
Yeah, because I want to finally go to the book, the wonderful book that you published, because that's one of the main reasons I have you on the show. Because the beauty of that book and the story behind that book, I could go on for the whole show just about that because it is so amazing. It's such an amazing story, and I want more and more people to read about it through your storytelling, your visual storytelling. And let's go to the guy from down under. Yeah, because so how is it? I mean, how do you manage your time being a Getty photographer and a Lonely Planet photographer and also an FT gear? I'm sorry, I'm not I'm not conversant with that. What's the third one?
Which one?
There's you're a photographer for Lonely Planet for
Yep.
Getty Images and another FTP gear.
F-stop, something.
F
Oh,
stop.
F-stop. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay, yeah,
that's like they just support me with this with bags. So they make really nice camera bags. So
oh,
they just
lovely.
help out with that f-stop. So that's that one. Very simple. It's kind of a bit of an ambassador type thing.
Ah, you're a very humble ambassador, I must say, Heath. If people should just go through your photography. I mean, just your Instagram. I mean, it's just amazing how you documented so many different countries, and I'm sure you've been through some dangerous situations too. I'm sure about it, but we might not go there. The most dangerous situation I'd like to know about yourself, of course. Give us some insights into to your life as a photographer, Heath. And my question of the day, the biggest question to you, and I want you to prepare it now. You can answer a bit later. Is
The
please
devil.
educate us on how to capture the devil. I would like you
All
to
right.
tell people what the devil is, because
Okay. So
that
we'll go back to the first question.
yes,
We
exactly.
just skipped about 5, but we'll go back. So Getty is a huge agency, media, that do news, commercial stuff. So my contract is like a stringer assignment kind of photographer. So it covers news. Um, I've done some commercial stuff for Harley Davidson in Australia.
Oh, well.
Just for certain campaigns, things come up and they will commission Getty to then allocate photographers in the region that they're doing this photo shoot. And then the new stuff, basically, it's basic wire stuff. So Soren would know what wire is. It's if something happens. Example would be in Australia when I left Qatar in 2018. I was here for a year. I went home, and then in Taz that next summer we had probably the biggest fires we've ever had in Tasmania.
Oh,
They burned for months. So this is the kind of thing where they will assign you to go out and cover fires, try to dig in and get some solid documentary type stuff for newspaper and so on. And that basically, these jobs can happen. They go both ways. Like they can assign you something, or
yeah.
you can pitch to them if there's something happening in your region that's interesting and has there's a fire now. There's a fire.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just wondering, like,
Tell
okay,
the fireman.
let's put heat to the job.
So
Yeah.
like if so I live in northwest Tasmania. It's just a small regional city. It's called Devonport. And Taz is a big island, but very low population. So I can kind of cover that whole state actually.
Oh, wow.
So if there's something
It's
significant,
as big as Qatar? Is it? I think it's bigger than Qatar, right?
it's much bigger. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
much bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's something significant happening, environmental or like conservation based, or even just news, as it happens.
Yeah.
Then you will call the assignment editor or something like that, and say, look, this is happening. It's kind of newsworthy, and then they will prepare like they will say go and shoot, and they'll prepare like templates for the filing and stuff like this. So then you'll go out, shoot the work, and then file it as quick as you can, so then it can make the news for the day.
Okay, lovely. So you're on a tight timelines. You're very tight timelines.
Yeah, right? Yeah. If it's something very immediate and it's happening, you go and do it, and then you'll file the work that day as soon as you can, or even through the day. You'll do a couple of sessions. You'll shoot some stuff, go back, upload, quick edit in the car or something like that, captions, and then you'll send. And then you'll go out, shoot some more, send some more.
Yeah. Okay.
And then if it's not so time dependent, you can go out and shoot all day, really, really dig in, and then you can do it later in the nighttime for the next day.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very similar to newspaper as well. So why it's the same outlet. It's news, daily news. So
okay. So you work for any other international wires like DPA or Yon Yap or Reuters?
It's mostly been Getty, but I have done some AAP stuff.
Okay.
Which is Australian Associated Press.
Okay.
Who else? I think they're the only two wire kind of agencies, but also quite a few newspapers over the years. This is over like 10 years or so. So
yeah.
Lots of different people come and go.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
I've actually sold an image to Getty around 14 or 12 years ago to Getty Dubai.
Yeah.
For a very big sum of money. The most expensive picture ever I sold to Getty. I'm like, I'll never get paid again like that ever. I think so. But it was a very basic image of Qatar. I'm not very proud of that. It was not even artistic for me, but it was a subject that they wanted, a specific angle of the skyline of Qatar.
Yeah. And
they wanted the rights for it. It was actually the money was paid because of the rights. They wanted for the year long. They wanted for TV, for the radio, for the TV, and for yeah, exactly. I'm getting to see that you guys have traveled a lot, but you all don't label yourselves as a travel photographer. So I would like to ask each one of you all, how many countries have you all traveled to, and which is your favorite places? I'm going to start with Andrea, because I think she's dozing there, or she's going to grab a burger.
I wish. For me, I started late in traveling. Like the travel bug came late. So my favorite destination, it's very surprising. There was one time that we were supposed to go to Vietnam, but it got canceled the last minute. So it was Eid, and there was no way I could get visa. So I chose from the few options that I can go to on the last minute. So I chose Iran. I chose Shiraz, Iran.
Wow. Beautiful choice.
I got influence on Instagram that, there's a pink mosque that has this reflection. When the sun strikes the window, the reflection just it's on the floor. Like the whole floor is, painted with the different colors. It's so amazing. I went there one time and I had no idea. Like I only had 2 hours to prepare, and like I didn't know that I have to wear hijab. Really no idea. I just want to go there for one day to take pictures of the mosque. and I didn't know their language, and I don't know anyone who was there. I mean, I so brave of me to go there without knowing anything. Well, but then I learned a lot from that trip. So when I went there, I was just gonna go see the pink mosque, but I was surprised that there were so many amazing buildings, castles, and the people were so nice. And like they even asked me to take pictures with them because they haven't seen my color before. It's like
Okay.
I felt like a celebrity for about 20 times. People asked me to take pictures with them.
Oh
It was
wow.
a different experience. Like it's not um, published. Like not a lot of people know about the place, so everything was a surprise. And the experience, the food. So since then, I started traveling. So that
Um,
gave me the motivation to
did you
see more places,
did you drink?
discover people. Play, yeah.
Yeah, I like the documentation of Paris. But Shiraz, did you drink the water of Shiraz? I think it's very popular.
Wow, the grapes. I mean,
Yeah.
I tried when I came, but just like one glass. It was
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
But I tried the faluda. If you know
Oh,
the
yeah, 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 yeah.
Shiraz, so that was amazing also.
Yeah, there's a lot of Iran. There's a lot of Iran from my in my country in India, in Bombay especially. There's a lot of Iran infused. A lot of Iranian restaurants. So we know quite a little bit about Iran.
Yeah.
Uh, Going to Soren. Soren, now if I ask you to which all countries you have visited, you might give us the whole globe. So in a nutshell, where all have you been to, and what are your favorite places or prized images that you got from?
I haven't made it even to half the globe, so just easy. There
Oh,
is so much more to explore.
true.
Uh, but of course, favorite place is always back home in Romania.
Hmm.
But from my travels for just for work or photography or even holidays, I think right there at the top is Malawi because I had developed a personal connection with Malawi through the book we were talking about,
Yeah.
and I think a very close second is Nepal.
Oh,
I
lovely.
really, yeah, I really enjoyed Nepal. And the people are so beautiful, so nice. The landscapes are just out of this world, and yeah, and the food is great.
Mm.
Yeah,
Momos.
yeah, yeah.
The best thing in the world, and the Tibetan momos, absolutely to die for.
And there's something else that I can't say about
We're
it.
going, we're going to food, yeah. That reminds me of a war photo. You can. Would you call yourself a war photographer, Soren? Can you call
No,
yourself?
no, no. No, I'm far from it. It will be unjust to war photographers for me to call myself a war photographer.
Okay.
I haven't. Yeah, I, I would say I'm a photojournalist by profession and photo editor because this is how I earn my living.
Mm-hmm.
But I think generally I just have a passion for photography. Really, I wouldn't like to label myself really, but you have to for a job. Like Heath knows, Andrea knows, you all know. You have to
Yeah, yeah.
label yourself to get a job. Like, otherwise,
True.
I think it's just a passion for photography because by hobby I'm today a wildlife photographer, tomorrow a architecture photographer. So
Yep.
a
Yeah.
travel photographer. Those are my hobbies. I love them all.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick on one war photographer who I personally met in Qatar. I'm sure you all have met him too. Giles Dewley. Have you heard of him? He had an exhibition here in Qatar year before last. I think he's an amputee. He has lost the use of one hand, but he's also an accomplished cook. So wherever he goes to which the countries, war-torn countries, he actually cooks for the villagers. So
Mm.
he told us
Oh,
that
that's
story.
nice.
Yeah, he told us that story, and he had a nice little exhibition at fire station, and he had a discussion and an explanation about what he does and how he does it, and I attended that, and from then I'm a big fan of his. He's an amazing person. I'm a bit surprised none of you all have heard of him. I was expecting Heath maybe or Andrea. You also, but you're too busy
I
outside the
I
country.
don't want to sound ignorant, but probably I've seen his work for sure. We probably all seen his work. We just the name maybe
Yeah,
didn't stuck with us.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But but
Attaching names to people's work sometimes is very hard.
okay.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, true, true. Very true. I would like to. I mean, I usually open the place for questions, but I've already got some questions coming in. So there's Maria Costilla who has a question for you, and before that, Geraldine has one for Heath. But this is a general question. Can all three of you, of course, answer that? Can they say which were their biggest challenges so far? Yeah, nice question, Maria. Thank you. Let's go with Heath. He's been quiet.
Biggest challenge. Uh,
Hello,
there's a lot
talent.
of challenges in this work, actually, but uh, probably the biggest one, and probably the one that really hits you the most, is early in like your path as to becoming let's say a working photographer, is really just trying to figure out what you want to be shooting, and kind of being honest with yourself. You'll get a lot of people tell you that your work, oh, this is beautiful, whatever, and sure, it's nice, but if you go back and look at this stuff 2 years later, you will definitely disagree.
True.
So it's really, how do you put it? Like, you just have to be kind of honest with yourself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. And I'm still with you, Hait. Geraldine has a question for you. What is the criteria to become a Getty photographer? I've always wanted to give it a shot. Nice one, Geraldine. Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
that's
to
good.
be good first.
Okay, so I was going to mention this before. So Getty is a huge, huge company, and it's not just one kind of thing. Getty is not just Getty. There's an editorial kind of avenue, and there's like a stock, and there's also commercial. But usually, when people think of Getty, they're thinking about the very basic kind of form of business where it's uploading a picture and selling a picture and getting money, which this happens, but also the business is much more complex than this within the editorial and commercial kind of world. So to become a Getty photographer about this upload sell stuff, I think most people can actually sign up and start submitting pictures to this library. So
Yeah.
what is it? It's iStock. I think it's basically iStock,
Okay.
owned by Getty. It's same. It's a huge company. Getty actually owns Lonely Planet as well now. So this kind
Oh,
of
wow.
became one.
Good
So
Lord. It's huge. Yeah.
when I started this, Lonely Planet was still Lonely Planet. It was an
Hmm.
Australian slash British company.
Hmm.
It became. It was bought out, I think, by BBC to
Okay.
start, or half owned. There was this. It was ridiculous amount of money that it was eventually sold for. To get into this, the process was crazy. I had to send like 500 high-res pictures of travel stock, and then
Wow.
they would respond. And if there's a certain percentage of these pictures that they thought were acceptable, then they would offer you a contract.
Oh,
So I got this contract, and then I started to submit to the Lonely Planet collection, which still exists, but it's within the Getty
hmm.
library. And then when Lonely Planet was completely bought out and It's basically it's run by Getty. I think owned by, I'm not sure, maybe BBC, but it's handled by Getty completely because they're basically they're so switched on with this online purchasing and licensing stuff that they're the obvious choice to run it.
Mm-hmm.
But then my Lonely Planet contract kind of merged into a Getty contract,
Okay.
and that's in the stock realm. So travel stock,
You
to travel photography. And then I have a different one, which is an editorial Asia Pacific contract,
okay?
which I got through basically pursuing this. I wanted to do editorial assignments through Getty, and I basically contacted the director of photography in Australia, who's Cassie Trotter Spencer, and yeah, we chatted and showed her some work, and then we set up an editorial contract.
Lovely. That's nice. Beautiful.
Long story.
Yeah, that's a nice story. Yeah, lovely. So, the biggest challenges, Andrea, would you like to give us a quick one on that? And then, because we got a lot of questions for you, guys. My gosh, two more questions, two more questions. Oh, and I have questions too. So, Andrea, quick one there.
I remember there's one time when Eli Locardi came to Qatar. I saw Sorin there and his wife Maria, and it was a point in time that I had no motivation in taking photos. I think that for me is the biggest challenge, because like even if I bring my camera every day, but like you know it somehow I lost my eye for photography. Not really, because I've trained my eye, but it's like the motivation to look at the beauty of things. It's somehow like I have to clear my eye again. And it's a good thing that I discovered food photography, which somehow like it's a different genre, but um, I see like the love for photography again in a different perspective.
Yeah.
So
Uh, and yeah, thank you, Andrea. So, Soren, what about your biggest challenges so far? Not getting shot.
Oh no, that's yeah, that's easy. Just run. But no, I'm just joking. Of course, I don't want to make fun of that. It's
I know,
it's
I know,
actually a
yeah.
serious. But I think I agree with actually with both. Andrea is right and Heath is right. These are some of the biggest challenges. Not only them, I think all us as photographers struggle with. For me, I think I struggle sometimes not to get attached to a story, and I think that's a big challenge. Especially, probably Heath, you understand this. When you,
mhm.
as a documentary photographer, when you find a story that really reaches your heart, it's hard to not get affected by it. And you see so much, and you've seen so many friends and colleagues that go through PTSD because of what they've seen, not necessarily in war, but because of all this drama, and photojournalists and documentarians uh, listen to and see. I think for me that was always the biggest challenge, is to try to detach, to understand, but with at the same time not lose compassion. Because we cannot really get desensitized to that level. We don't have compassion. At the same time, we have to try to keep ourselves sane, and continue to work and continue to be professional in our coverage, and remain as, I don't like to use detached, maybe as subjective, though I don't believe in subjectivism when it comes in, sorry, I believe in subjectivism, but remain objective in our coverage,
Yeah.
as objective as we can. Though I still think that's a myth. There is no objective photography. It's always subjective, but still, you need to be, in a way,
Just try to
objective.
minimize any bias, kind of.
Exactly, yeah, because That's our danger in storytelling. You get so close to the story that you forget to provide a full story to an audience that wants to see. You forget the context. You forget that people don't know what's going on, and you have to show them. Because you are so attached to it. So it's a challenge sometimes. I think that's, for me, was always the biggest challenge, is to look in people's eyes through the lens and not let
Yeah,
myself be really, really, really touched by it to the
true.
point that cannot be objective in my coverage.
It's about that, I don't know if it's true, but the photographer, they say, who captured the image of the vulture looking at a kid, I think in Somalia, and then he apparently committed suicide. I don't know about that.
Mm,
I don't know if it's true
Not sure. I
or because you can. The thing with social media now is you cannot believe most of it. You know.
I don't think so, but yeah, it's true. I mean, there are so many other people who committed suicide because, or they've been through other,
Yeah.
they suffered because of PTSD, and not necessarily war photographers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot not be affected by a human story. It's just
Yeah.
hard,
Sudan.
but you have that challenge. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll try and deviate from this because we're going to go back to that book of
Oh
yours.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's go to. There's a question for Andrea. A happy question. Any tips for aspiring food photographers?
Yeah.
Close your mouth.
Um, if you plan to take food photos, first you have to be sort of hungry. Don't
What?
eat. Yeah, because like if you're not hungry anymore, you'll see it just as a food. But if you're sort of hungry, like you'll try to look at like which one should I bite first? Like is it the meat or is it the cheese? Like do I have to you know? So it makes you more appreciative of your subject. So and also like for food photography, it helps that your food is in the best condition. Like if you're planning to make it yourself, the if you're planning to prepare the food yourself, like you have everything has to be fresh. And yeah, like get the best ingredients and make don't focus on the plate, focus on the food. Like the backgrounds are just if you start yourself taking if you start taking food pictures, your subject is the food, not the background, not the plate.
What about food styling? What about food styling? Do you?
It comes after, but if you're just gonna start, focus on the food first, and then like you can just mix and match as you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Let's move to the next question, which is from me. Then I'll go to Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a very, she's, I would say, very popular on Big B meetups. She's a very big fan. She's the president of the American Women's Association. And her question actually is, let's go to her question before mine. She would like to know what is the most memorable photo you all have taken. Yeah. Let's and Andrea, carry on. Let us know what is your most memorable picture.
Yeah. I have one. I have two actually. Can I give two? Because
Three or four.
it's there is every year we have the air show here in Doha,
Yeah, yeah.
and like people line up on Corniche, like everyone is on Corniche. But there was one time that I was at the Sheraton, by the end of like the beach, and I was not sure if I'm gonna get the air show, like the a nice angle, and like it was just a split second that I heard the roar of the engines, and then like it just came up like all like a I don't know if you know Voltes 5, like the formation
Mhm.
just back of the Sheraton. It was not the best exposure, but for me it's the most memorable photo. It was a split second, and I don't think anyone captured the same
Oh, lovely,
same
beautiful, very nice.
angle. Yeah,
Please share that with me on Insta so that I'd like to repost it and put it up on
yeah,
my
I will.
story. Yeah, that's a nice. Yeah. Uh, Soren, oh yeah, sorry, you had another one, Andrea. You said two.
Yeah. When I when I went to Paris, everyone already saw pictures of Paris, the Louvre, and the Eiffel Tower. And I went there on January. I was surprised that when I got off the metro, it was just the the gate of the Louvre. It was so empty. It was so calm. Like um, for me, it's the one of the best pictures I've captured because it was empty. You cannot see the Louvre empty.
Yes, yes, true. I
There
I
was
can imagine.
not a single person was there, and like I just cried because it was so solemn. It's like the feel of being in that place
When
without any. So yeah,
you can capture the make believe of the a copy of the Louvre, which is empty many times in Qatar at Hazm Mall.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Heath, what is your favorite picture, Heath? Or was I going to Soren? No, let's Heath. Yeah, 'Cause-
Yeah. So the favorite one that I've taken,
yep.
uh, this would be a Tasmanian devil picture.
Oh,
Yeah.
Of course, it took 3 years to take.
wow. Okay, you know
And
what? Since we're on that topic, please continue. Yeah.
this was like a major mission for me. Like I've worked on this story for like 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
Basically, well, for several reasons, to improve my work as a documentary photographer or photojournalist, whatever you want to call it, conservation photography as well. It
Yeah.
all fits. But as the years went by, I would come up with these picture ideas to photograph these devils. So they're all wild. You've seen the work,
Yeah.
possibly. I don't know if the other guys have,
And
maybe a little bit.
that's what made me a fan of Heath.
So this was a lot of work, and it kind of, I just kept thinking about these pictures that they got more complex every time. And these are like camera trap pictures, which are remote digital SLR pictures out in the bush, like way out there in the rainforest, in the kind of the dry sclerophyll areas of coastal Tasmania. We have a
What is
variety
the
of
what is
habitat.
the habitat they live in, Heath?
So they'll live from the coast. You'll find them on the beach. You'll find them at 1,000 meters elevation. So
Oh,
they're actually very durable
versatile.
little animal.
Yeah.
They're tough little suckers. so
Yeah.
so this one picture.
You're muted yourself.
No, I
Actually,
did accidentally, I think, but
okay.
I think it was you. Okay,
The
so
beard.
So this one picture that I had, which would be the favorite, I wanted to get a picture of one in the snow. So these shots are
No.
snow falling.
Oh wow.
It snows in Tasmania. We get it a lot, actually. So this was an idea that I had, and I had no idea whether it would happen. I knew that it was possible if all of the elements came together, but the chances were very slim because the way these cameras operate, basically you set an infrared beam on a trail. These animals are nocturnal, so they only come out at nighttime. They will walk, and they're very elusive, right? You don't actually ever see them
Hmm.
as general public.
Yeah.
So you really have to find where these animals live, and you have to find their little area. There'll be dens in the area, so they'll travel like a trail, and then they'll move on for certain weeks, and then they'll eventually come back.
Hmm.
So it takes a lot of persistence. Anyway, it was kind of getting towards the end of the winter, like 2017, and we had like one last big snowfall coming, and I just thought, okay, this has to be it. Otherwise, I just have to stop for some time. I've been trying this for 3 winters
Wow.
nonstop.
And you didn't get it for 3 winters? You got it
Yeah,
on third winter?
yeah, it took 3 years. And
Wow.
so when I went, so you go back to check these cameras. It's like in a box, like a a box.
Do you leave any food for them? Like, how some, I mean,
No,
there's,
no, no. So this is very important, and this was a
thank
big
you.
part
Thank
of this
you.
project. That
Exactly.
like
There
ethics
was,
is very important in wildlife photography.
can you repeat that, please? Because there was talk about some photographers, international awardees, doing this with animals and then taking pictures and getting awards for them. So please
Yeah,
repeat. It's
this happens, and I've seen it in there's some Australian competitions, and I've seen some of the pictures that win first, second, third, whatever, and they're I don't know how do you really say it, but I can look at some of these pictures and you just know that
At
it's
least
staged.
questionable. At least questionable.
yeah, absolutely. And even some have written in the caption, which transparency is important as well, but it just makes it so fake.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, no baiting. The elements to this picture I needed snow falling, okay,
Hmm.
snow on the ground, and this kind of determined the location where I would set this up. So it had to be a clear, open forest, right? So this is falling. It can't be like covered. A trail that these devils walk on, and it happened. So anyway, yeah,
Wow.
fast forward, and I went back and checked this camera, and like I just couldn't believe it. Like
How
it
did
was,
how
I
did you
don't,
get the joy? How did you get the joy?
I I can't even explain like the feeling of satisfaction, like
I can
the
imagine.
weight. I just felt like this weight just lifted because I've just been trying and trying and trying. I knew it was possible, but if it didn't happen, then it would have been next winter because it was really at the end of the winter, and there was probably no more snow. And like I cried, like I
I can
you
imagine.
open up this box, get the memory card out of it's like a Canon 6D. It's been sitting in the bush for like 4 months. Put it in the laptop, and then you just look at these pictures, and just the feeling was I just can't even explain
I
it.
have
Like,
Heath, I have some ideas for you here in Qatar. But having said that, now I want to, I mean, I've been talking to you about this for some time now, and I want to say it in public. Heath, I would like to curate an exhibition of the Tasmanian tiger and of other animals you've taken pictures of in Qatar. I know nobody, it'll be lovely, and we can even talk to the Australian embassy about it. And I'm
yeah,
sure they will help out. And Soren, of course, will definitely work his magic with us, and Andrea. Uh, Coming to the next point, I would like to invite all three of y'all to an exhibition I'm curating for Ramadan. It's called Jamil Al Qatar. It's my second edition. The last one I had it in 2019, and I'm choosing specific photographers from different genres, and that's one of the reasons I'm having you on the show as well. So to invite you all live on my show and saying, "Hey, Heath, Soren, and Andrea, I'd like you all to be part of my project. Yeah, our project. It's not my project. It's a community photo expo. Yeah, and while I'm
It's a
talking to
pleasure.
Heath, you're welcome. Yeah, Heath, I've seen some lovely images of yours, street photography, and also of Kenya. Could you run us by that? Because Kenya is a country I love very much. My grandmother was born in Mombasa, my mom's mom,
yeah,
and I've been to Kenya in Nairobi 16 years ago, 17 years ago, yeah. I went and shot images there with my film camera, my Rebel 450 XT Canon. I was not going to use any brands online here, but I had. But
Nah.
yeah, and I went to the Serengeti, and I had a really tiny camera. I didn't have any of those big zoom lenses because I was still learning photography. I had a 60, not even a 1635. I had a 4.5 to 5.6 aperture, and I saw these Japanese photographers with bazookas there. So I just hid my camera, you know. But I have some images that I'd like to show you. I show the public too. A bit of street photography. This is images of kids at a nursery my cousin runs, and this is a baby elephant. I think you got something similar, Heath, because you have visited this wonderful. What's the word?
It's called David Sheldrick elephant.
Yeah, yeah. And this is back when Instagram wasn't there. There wasn't digital photography yet, or I think it was very expensive. And this is Lake Naivasha with the pelicans there. You know,
Flamingos.
uh, there were some pelicans too. There were some pelicans too. Yeah. Those are flamingos. Those are flamingos, but there were pelicans. You're right. You're right. Yeah, that's what. Thank you, Heath.
I've done
Yeah.
a lot of wildlife work, actually. I worked in the Singapore Zoo for like a year and a half.
Wow. Wow. Listen, I think I need to have another extra hour with you guys. Please carry on. I'm going to go ahead and clock in another couple of more minutes. We've nearly finished our 1 hour, but this is
Yeah.
very interesting. Please carry on, Heath. I would like to know more about Kenya. How about
Okay.
you, Soren and Andrea? You guys have more time with us? Are you fine?
Batteries are charged.
Okay, lovely. Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
Heath.
Yeah, Kenya's amazing. It's beautiful, and Nairobi is it's pretty wild.
It is, yes.
So I went there and I took part in like a documentary photo workshop with the Seven Agency, Danny Wilcox Frazier and Nicole Sabecki. Basically, the participants would spur an idea about a small photo story for a week, and then you'd go out and you would do it. My story was about kind of beauty and basically like street. It kind of went through a bit of a phase. It developed through the week. It went from kind of like hair fashion, right? So we can all agree that Africans have a pretty cool hair fashion, right?
Yeah.
So it went from this kind of simple idea, visual, and went through more of a it just developed, and then it turned into kind of how this has created its own little industry within Nairobi. There's these markets, and they have like they sell braids, they sell all this stuff, and then it went through like the colors and the how it's so vibrant, and the culture is just I think it's just beautiful, and it's very like the pride there is amazing. Like it's I don't know how to explain it better than that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's lovely. Uh, there's two more questions I have. One is from Farhan, is a very good friend of mine. He is an archaeologist in Qatar, and one is from Team Laban. A lovely question for Andrea, and I really like that question, Andrea. Let's go to that question for Andrea because I want her to. I want her views on this. A follow-up question from Andrea from Team Laban. Do you agree with fake it till you make it? Who doesn't in food photography? And was there a time you used props instead of the real food products, like how some TV food ads are done? Yeah, nice question, Team Laban. What do you say, Andrea? So you cannot. The only bad thing about using props is you can't eat it.
Yeah. So we've seen, like, even before when I was just starting with food photography, I've seen a lot of videos about how you fake it like to get the right look for the food. But
Yeah.
for the kind of work that I have, I'm not allowed to use like artificial food. But
Mhm.
what I use is I use props to make the food look like the form of the food look better. Like I use probably toothpicks to to adjust the height of, like, for example, the patty or the the bun, or sometimes I use some stuff inside the shawarma to make the roll look all meaty inside.
Yeah.
Are you hungry now?
No. I was like, sometimes you go and see a nice, beautiful picture of a full shawarma. When you go to the shop, it's like, too small.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
McDonald's.
So
Yeah.
it's your fault. Just
McDonald's.
joking.
So just
Yes.
like some stuff, but like artificial food, I've never tried it before. So yeah, thank you for
Okay.
Probably crunchy.
Yeah. Moving to my question now. Guys, we get this cliched question. I don't know if you get it. I don't get it anymore because I think I nearly slapped somebody when I got that question last. Was what do you say when somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, you're a photographer. Oh, what camera do you use?" So that's the cliche question. And when they say that, "Oh, it's the camera, it's not your eye." Well, Soren, what do you say to that?
You know, sometimes depends, right? But sometimes if you look at them and you know they'll be like jealous and this, you just tell them the camera. You know they will die inside because they can never have that camera, right? So you know they'll like their heart to sink a bit. But people who are genuinely want to learn a little bit more about the equipment and try to explain it.
Okay.
I generally I avoid it, ignore it. If I see somebody is really interested, probably I will tell them also why I chose this particular
Yeah.
most of the time it's just because I use it since I started photography, like same brand, and I never changed. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh, have you? Oh, I thought you started out with Nikon, or you always been a Sony?
no, Bosco, we know each other like since we used to take pictures for Abode and Business Cutter. Come on.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
So,
used Sony from the beginning. I went through A77, A99, then I switched to mirrorless. I had the first A7S till last year, so it's
okay, yeah. Okay. Let me continue. I mean, I didn't want to go to details about photography here, because I just didn't want to. But how would you rate the mirrorless to, your general, Canon and Nikon? Because now everybody's talking about mirrorless, but I'm still with my 6D Mark II. I and I'm pretty happy with it.
Yep.
What do you-
uh, who wants to start? I mean, I always say depends where you are in photography. Of course, it's a lie to say equipment doesn't matter. It does matter to a certain extent, but equipment with a bad idea behind it, or definitely will not make a picture good. Again, like you see it every day, and as a photo editor, as a working photo editor, also I say like you see it all the time. You know, pictures taken with the best equipment there is. I wish to have some of those, some of that equipment. It's like a
True.
dream, but so poorly executed and stuff you cannot even think of publishing. But again, I would always say that I would not. I think the equipment matter, but from a certain level, all cameras can do just as good. Like
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yep.
What ab- what about you, Heath? What do you say about?
Yeah. There's
No, no. What do you say about when somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, what camera do you use?"
I don't really know what to say to it anymore.
Yeah,
It's the same as Soren. It kind of depends who's asking it, and
yeah, true.
if you can give them a solid answer, which kind of justifies why you're using something rather than something else,
Okay,
then
fair enough.
it makes sense. But
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, so I've this camera trap stuff. I'll make it very quick.
Yeah.
I used a 1000D for years, a Canon
Oh,
1000D. I bought it for $50, right?
wow.
And it had a back page National Geographic
Wow.
full page.
Wow.
So it does, like, I
Fantastic.
mean, to say gear doesn't matter is kind of not true, but it just kind of depends how you use it and what you're using it for.
Well said, Heath. Well said.
Yep.
That's inspirational. Huh? That's inspirational. It really is.
To keep, yeah, I forgot that. Actually, my first picture published was my first ever published photo was taken with the small Sony point and shoot.
Oh, wow.
And Bosco, where the horses are in Sukwagif. It was one of the horses.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
I pitched about 10 pictures to this magazine, and I put this in between just like this. And they selected only that out of 10.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
I was like, what's going on? It was my
Yeah.
first ever published photo.
Wow.
2008, I think.
That's a good
2008
question.
or 2007.
That's a good question to ask all of you all. What was your first published picture? That's a nice one. But you know, Andrea, what about you? What do you tell people? What do you tell kabayans when they say, "Hey, which camera?"
I told you, like, I started taking photos in 2012, 14, like that. I'm still using it.
Ah,
But I get offended when they ask me what camera I use. Because why didn't you notice my cute strap?
oh, that's a nice one. Love it. That's a woman. That's a lady thing to it. Lovely.
I'm using an old camera. I don't care. I mean, I'll answer the question, but it doesn't bother me if I'm using an old camera.
That's nice. That's lovely. Okay, Elizabeth is back with us, and she's asking us when is the exhibition going to be. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the question. It will be announced soon. Yeah, once I get Heath agreeing on the date. Well, two exhibitionists. One is Heath with just the Heath. What I'm going to call it, the exhibition is going to be called "The Heat Is On." Yeah, and so Andrea,
And we
are
will
you
hit
on?
it on.
Yeah, are you? Are you gonna? Would you like to participate in the exhibition that I'm curating for Eid, for Ramadan rather?
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, great, lovely. So we have
I
Soren on
missed the
board.
last one. This one I'm not gonna miss.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you missed the last one. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a fair dinkum exhibition.
Yes, it will. Yeah, I have. There's another thing that I started with since last episode is I get you guys to be the host for just one question. But since we are four of us, Andrea, you can ask each one of us, or you can choose who you want to ask a question. Since we have less, we've passed the time actually. Just one question to Soren, Heath, and Bosco. Andrea, shoot.
To Soaring, did you ever get a chance to uh, be a hero on assignment? Like you did something out of your work. It's dangerous, I know, but like, did you ever help someone while you're at work, or did it,
Lovely question.
or
Beautiful
you're
question.
not allowed to?
So, of course, again, the places that I visit to are, dangerous by normal means, but I don't want to take anything away from people who actually really go in the heart of trouble, right?
Mhm.
But I've never been a hero. I don't believe in heroes, but one time I remember this time I was in a border between Macedonia and Greece, uh, and in Idomeni, and there were a bunch of refugees there. Greek police, riot police was there. Refugees they were pushing to go into Macedonia. Riot police was going mad, and they were trying to control them to let them enter in a controlled manner. And there was this family. They couldn't speak any English or any language I could understand, but I think they were, I would say maybe Afghanistan or maybe somewhere in Pakistan, but they looked Afghani to me. And they couldn't understand anything. And Greek police were shouting at them to go through Macedonia. And they were so lost, and it was just a chaos, and they didn't know where to go. And Greek and police then, they weren't really like, they weren't nice. If you don't go, that's it. They will push you back. They will like put you in the crowd, maybe hit you. And I was right there, and I didn't know what to do. And I took a couple of pictures of them, and I was like, they were lost. They couldn't understand anybody, and that's it. If they don't make it through the gate into Macedonia, they're stuck. There is no more, right? So I just stopped for a second, and I was trying to point them in the right direction. That's the gate. There, you have to go through. Don't look at me. Don't go. Don't go back. Just go through. And they just wouldn't get it. And I grabbed. In the end, I remember I couldn't take it. Put my camera down. I grabbed, the man by the shoulder, and I point him to the right direction. I said, that's the gate. There, you have to go. That's your freedom, practically.
Mm-hmm.
And they were still lost, but they made their way slowly through, and I felt so good to see them, pass the gate, and that's it, making it through and avoiding, and then they avoid getting beaten and tear gassed by police.
Amazing.
But it was very hard. It was very hard to interfere it was hard because of the human story, not because, again, I don't believe in heroes. I believe we shouldn't really interfere in the story, but we shouldn't forget we are human beings, and you cannot really see something like this happen, knowing what will happen to them if they don't make it through, and not try to help. Every photojournalist out there, if they blame me, I take it with my head held high, because that has nothing to do with the ethics of photojournalism. Really, is just being human. That's it.
Yeah.
Some interesting.
Yeah. Soren, Andrea, you have a question to Wahid, or should I move to Soren asking a question to whoever?
I have a question for Heath.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Since you did the Tasmanian Devil picture, did you ever get pressured to beat that, like take more signature picture, like
So once I got this picture, it was like a huge relief, and I actually stopped working on that basically after that picture, on the devil story. I will do more in the future, but once that happened, a couple of months, then I moved here. So it was this strange timing. So I moved here at the end of 2017, just a couple months after that. But since then, I've done some other camera trap stuff in northern Kenya.
Oh, wow.
It's called the Gravy Zebra, and
lovely.
I did 2 nights. 2 nights is not really much, but I got some nice shots of these zebras as well out at the Samburu.
Is that what you've been sharing lately?
Yeah, there's a couple on there. Yeah,
on your Insta stories. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're lovely.
We need to get together more, Heath. I'm a hobbyist wildlife photographer, but my wife just bought me a camera trap as a gift. And
that's a nice one.
She's upset I haven't used it yet, so I need some tips,
Soren, that's a trap.
Put it on the Cornish.
I know, but I have to do it.
Oh my God, that's a nice one. Yeah. Heath, would you like to play host and ask us a question? Any of us, except me, maybe?
Yeah. So I guess to both Andrea and Soren. Yeah, it's tricky. There's 1,000 questions you can ask, but I guess what would you like a dream assignment? And I know for both you guys it'll be totally different. So Andrea, I might say, like, what would your dream client be within the food photography world? And Soren, maybe within the documentary or photojournalism kind of world, like a topic, like human interest or whatever. Go for it.
Ladies first, isn't it?
Give you more time to think.
My dream is to work with international destination pages like Condé Nast or Beautiful Destinations.
Oh, wow.
That is my real passion. Like
Beautiful.
I get inspiration from these photographers featured there,
Yeah.
and so it's like that's my goal. But for now, I have to do with with food photography.
Well,
Lovely.
that will lead you there, like
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have a good buddy in Singapore who's done loads of stuff for Condé Nast and travels amazing,
Oh,
beautiful stuff,
thank you.
Yeah.
Just keep at it.
Yeah. So, Soren,
I mean,
you're not on the hook.
you know that's a hard question for me. I mean, it's like, what I think is that my dream assignment. So I left Romania many years back. I was out of school. I wasn't even thinking of becoming a photographer, and I would really really like to have maybe a couple of years to really document life in Romania as it is today.
Yep.
Because I've never done it. I discovered I became a photographer when I was gone. I really, as an adult, I haven't lived in my home country
Yep.
more than the occasional 2 weeks holiday, and it's not as life there is not as pink or as rose as people might think it is, and with the European Union and all. And I think, yeah, I think that will be my dream assignment. I would love to go back home and spend a
Mm,
couple of years just documenting what I see and what
Yeah.
I feel.
Yep.
that's
Yeah, that'd
lovely.
be nice. Yeah.
Sorry, you
Those
have. So,
castles and stuff there.
oh yeah.
Oh my
You
god.
get bitten. You get bitten, perhaps out here.
Hunadora.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Soren, you have any questions for Andrea, Heath, or anybody else?
Bosco, I have lots of questions for you, but
Some other
I'll
time.
keep them. We were told we have to keep certain words out of this.
Yeah, yes,
We
absolutely.
cannot curse. We have to keep it clean, right? So
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
just joking, of course. But I have for both. I think for Andrea, have you ever thought of really, in a way, putting together food stories or stories about food or stories through food to really, really move?
Hmm,
And
nice one.
Heath, when are we going to make like a trip to Tanzania? We want to
No,
catch that devil as well. Of course, we want to, don't have 3
Tasmania,
years, but by
Tasmania.
now you have experience. Tasmania, yeah, Tanzania.
Yeah,
Tanzania, just kidding.
Yeah.
But no, on a serious note, what would you tell me, for example, as a hobbyist and probably as a hobbyist wildlife photographer, what would you say after your experience with the devil is the key skill that the wildlife photographer must have?
Yeah, that's good.
Andrea again.
Yeah.
That's
You're
so
up.
sad.
For me, for food stories, recently I've been challenging myself to um, learn about videography.
Oh,
'Cause there are so many opportunities in food photography, like when they're pouring the coffee or adding sprinkles to the donuts. That's kind of um, it's somehow it's more lively than just still pictures when you have motion. So um, in the future, hopefully, I can like create a small video about food, making people hungry.
true.
So yeah,
Master Chef.
Again, we can help with that. We can.
yeah, you can try it after. I'll let you know when.
Yeah. Well, you should use it. I like. I mean, the food photography I do. I use a human element. Like a hand or somebody. If he's eating a burger, he's making a face, or
Yeah,
some. If it's a toothpick, or even if it's
Cheese.
spaghetti. So that for me, because I'm a people's person, so I like to show people eating food. And you don't want to see me eating because I've got food all over my face when I'm eating. I'm like a devil. I'm like a devil, actually. I am. Yeah, but yeah, that's nice.
You eat the bones.
On to, yeah, on to Heath. Yeah.
Okay. So the key thing would be with wildlife, really to get to know the species and the behavior of these animals, whatever it is. When I started working on this devil thing, I knew basics about it. Just from being from Tasmania, I just knew probably where I could find it. But then I had to learn some behavioral kind of
Hmm.
their behavior and their habits. How do they live? Where do they live? What are their movements? And then another thing would be to work with experts who are studying these animals as well. So scientists, or if it's an animal with conservation issues, so if they're endangered, there will be people studying these animals. They'll have programs to make sure this species doesn't go extinct. And they're the key people to talk to, and they will help you out for sure.
Lovely. That's nice.
Thank you.
So, guys, I think we can end here, but I end always with a message of love and peace. So, all my hosts, I mean my guests on the show, I'd like to ask you all to give each one of you all one message of love and peace to our audience. And I want to thank you all for your time, and I hope you all enjoyed the show. I enjoyed it very much, and I'm looking forward to having you all as part of my exhibition during Ramadan, the Community Expo, Jamilat Al Qatar. So let's go with this time. We'll go reverse. We'll go with Soren, Heath, and then end with Andrea. Soren, would you like to give us your message of love and peace, everybody? Since you're in the war-torn area all the time.
I'm in Doha now. It's like
Hang on,
I haven't
hang on.
traveled.
I'm so sorry. Listen, there's one thing I didn't continue. Soren, can you please hold up the book that you've published and give us a short story about that book? How could I forget
Did you
that?
force me? Did you force me to bring here like quickly?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Please, can you explain a little bit about that book? I know we've spoken about the book. We promoted the book at my program last year, but please, can you talk about that book? A quick one.
So I'll make it very quick. The book is called Out of the Shadow. It was published in collaboration with Amnesty International and OSISA in South Africa. It's not for profit. The book is about exposing the killings and attacks on people with albinism in Malawi. If for the audiences who don't know, people with albinism in Malawi are killed because of certain religious beliefs, or maybe local beliefs, witchcraft. They believe their bones are made of gold, so people try to kill them to get hold of the bones. They believe that the placenta of a woman with albinism that delivered can bring riches. So they do all sorts of stuff. And this book was born from an idea that a colleague of mine, his name is Azad Essa, and I had, because of all the stories that are coming out from the country. And we researched the story for about 3 months.
Okay, we lost him. I hope his battery's not gone. Soren, are you there? You can just refresh.
It's a Sony, so I think the battery's gone flat.
Oh, okay. So you can't hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Can you repeat yourself? We didn't want to hear that. It's a Sony. Yeah.
How? Where did I? Anyway, so we did. It's a 10-day, 20 days, I think, 2 weeks, 20 days investigation in Malawi. all over the southern part of the country where most of the killings of people with albinism were taking place. We looked for a market, we looked for killers, we had access to the maximum security prison, we
Wow.
spoke with people who were accused, but you have to imagine there is no DNA sort of evidence, no DNA analysis there. So people are accused of having bones of people with albinism. I mean, how hard is to prove a bone is a... So yeah, it's an investigation like this. The book, we tried to put it out, and it was more for creating awareness and try to raise funds to help these families of people who were attacked and survived. It's very interesting, and you can find it on Amnesty International website. You can download it from there in a PDF format.
Wow.
You can look at it, read it,
Can you share
understand the issue, because
details, please? Can you share details, please? I would like people to actually read this book.
I will share details. It looks like this in print form. PDF looks just exactly the same. It's just that no paper.
Can they buy it? Can they
But
buy the book?
you can download it for free from Amnesty website, and on Amazon you can buy it. All proceeds will... I will share all links. I think we put it on Amazon. Let me just confirm that to you, after this.
Okay, fine.
But anyway, don't hold back if you want to donate to the cause. Amnesty International does a great job. There are a lot of organizations locally that do a great job. Just Google albinism in Malawi. And not only, or Southern Africa has an issue with that, but just because the book was done in Malawi.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah, that's
Easy
my
to-
message of love. Just care for others and donate to people with albinism.
That's a nice message. Very nicely put. Heath, you want to go? You got some more light on your face now. Wow, you look different.
There's a
Pretty.
burglar.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
burglar here.
So what's your Heath?
All right. Yeah. So I don't know. Just be nice to people. I don't know. Just be a kind person.
We need that.
Send your girlfriend some flowers or your
Okay.
boyfriend if you're Andrew, or your husband or wife, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be a nice person. And in the photo world, photograph the things that you really care about. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Heath. Very nicely put. Andrea, what's your message?
First of all, thank you, Vasco. This is amazing. Like I learned a lot from
Me
you.
too. Learned a lot too.
And for me, photography. My mission in photography is to capture the beautiful places, to show the world that the world is still beautiful. Like watching news, like you have all these killings, you have this war, corruption. At the end of the day, it's still we're still alive, and it's good that we spend more time looking at the beautiful side of things. So that's why I got into photography. So if you want to become a good photographer, you have to appreciate your subject. So there. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very nicely put. And I must say, this has nearly beaten my longest episode. The last longest episode was 1.5 hour or 1 hour 45 minutes, and it was with Khalid Al Jaber, an amazing traveler. Actually, he's traveled from Anchorage in Alaska to the tip of South America. You met him, Soren. You were there at
Yeah.
that program. Yeah. He's a Qatari adventurer. He's done the Silk Route, and he's actually traveled from South Africa to Kenya. Yeah, yep, on the bike. So
He's a
yeah,
great guy, yeah.
he's a great guy. Yeah. So guys, thank you and so are y'all. So are y'all. I was very happy to have you all on the show. I'm very pleased to have Heath, Andrea, and you, Soren. And
Thank you,
again,
Bosco.
you're
Thank you.
welcome. And reiterating my
Yeah.
point, the two exhibitions here. One is the Jamilat Al Qatar, and another one. In fact, I'd like to take your help too, because I would like to showcase the work of Heath in Qatar.
Yeah, let's do it.
Especially with the Tasmanian devil, because we don't want to lose beautiful animals to extinction, you know. And this is a photo exhibition is a lovely way to showcase and educate people on that. Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and my lovely viewers, thank you for staying in with us, for the patience. It's been 1 hour and a half hour and 11 seconds. Thank you so much.
And still so much more to say. So
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, it is. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Varda, Claros, Elizabeth, Geraldine, and Cliff, and many other guests.
Yeah.
And good night, guys.
Thank
And
thank you
and and good
everyone for the
morning.
questions.
Yeah, and good morning, Tasmania. Yeah, good morning, Tasmania. Yeah, yeah,
Probably
exactly.
8 hours, maybe
Yep, yeah. Same time as Melbourne. Same time as Melbourne.
4:30.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys. Masalama. Good day, mate, and ciao.